Meeting's called to order. Certification with open meeting law.
You just walked in.
I just walked in. Okay, roll call.
Kyle?
Here.
Miller?
Here.
Bransett?
Here.
And May is here.
Okay, discussion and action for resolution to appoint and replace recycling coordinator.
Okay, we're gonna discuss first from now on, right?
Okay,
The Towns
discuss.
Association says we can discuss first, motions later.
Okay, I just said there's gonna be discussion and action,
Yeah.
so we'll do the discussion.
Yeah.
So the audience knows what we're talking about.
Okay, we're gonna discuss, this is a discussion.
This is the discussion part of the possible action.
Okay. I, for one, I've read the stuff, and we can appoint a position or a person.
Okay.
And I think we should appoint a position. It would have saved trouble this time if we had, you know. And since I've been getting the calls, it's kind of it's not a pain, I don't mind doing it. Most of it is people that need recycle bins.
Mhm.
So then I call Advance and they take one out on the truck. I had said, can you just bring us some to the town hall? And they said, no, I don't want to do it that way, and I understand that. So,
Okay.
so they take them out when the garbage guys go, they take a recycle bin along for whatever address it is. But my guess is that Bill's gonna be getting all these calls.
Okay.
That's because they have been calling me when they couldn't get any answer at Wendy's, you know.
Okay, well,
So, are you having,
I went on the internet, I got it all set up, and I didn't know how this was gonna pan out, so I just put my name in there,
okay,
and it's all set up. We can go in and do our work now.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I'm listed as your coordinator.
Can he be the coordinator?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it pays $400.
absolutely.
Well,
let's
we're
talk
gonna
about
discuss
that
that
too.
too.
Okay.
Let's talk
I
about
don't
that
care
too.
about the money,
Oh,
but we can set up anybody we want on
okay.
there.
Okay,
Because I talked to the lady yesterday, she called, we can go back and set up another person we want, if we want to.
Mhm.
But I had my name in there, I told her just leave it that way for now, and she sent me the information, what to go in, what to look for, and we can fill the paperwork out with that one.
Instead of naming a specific person, if you name a specific position
That's what
as
they
a
said.
town clerk,
Right.
that way you don't have to keep doing new resolutions.
That's what I
If
said
it's
too.
just,
That was my thought too.
Well, we can do that after this is over, but for now I got my name in there, we can do that, and then we can go back and set up it as a town clerk.
Okay, my thought, you know, there's a little history on that $400, and it goes back to when they started the recycling program. And George Ventura was the guy that was doing it, and you had to fill out, like, I think Peggy looked into this too, it was like a 22-page report you had to go through and fill out, and that's why they decided to give you money. And I don't think there's too much to it today, is there?
No, it's, what, 5 or 6 pages or something like that.
Yeah, so, you know, I'm just wondering if it's really something that should pay $400, and I'm not trying to take money away from Bill if he feels like
Well, they're
it's.
gonna pay it to somebody.
No, they're not, no,
they're not.
no,
It
no,
comes
it
out of
comes
the-
in the grant.
it comes out of that recycling.
Oh, it comes out of the grant, okay.
And we get, what, 4,600?
Just under 45.
Just under 4,500, and what they've
For the
been
grant.
doing was taking,
The
yeah,
grant, yeah.
the grant.
The grant was
I
44,
heard
31 or
three
so.
different figures, I didn't know the exact amount.
Yeah, and so what they were doing in the past was just taking $400 out of that grant and giving it to the person in charge
Okay.
of recycling. And
For
because
filling out
George-
the form.
Yeah, because
The
George
first year.
Ventura had always done it, and then Bill took over, Bill, Von Rohr,
Rohr.
why they just kept giving him the $400, but it's, I'm not real sure it's a job that, you know, I mean, maybe we could use that, leave that in the grant and use it better for the town treasury.
Well, that's fine, I wouldn't, but I didn't pay.
Because you're gonna get the calls anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fine if you wanna leave it that way.
And to do a resolution, we'd have to have it written up and brought to a meeting. We could do that at the next meeting.
I did one up for them.
Oh, you did a resolution up?
Oh, I didn't bring it with
I think, doesn't the DNR need a resolution
Yeah.
before they will
They
do
require-
the paperwork?
Okay.
And if it's done after the 20th, we lose another 10% of the grant. We've already lost 10%.
Right.
Because it wasn't done on October 1st.
Right.
They want it in their possession, so, and
Yeah, so you can turn around whoever's name in there and the date, and everyone here can sign
We
it.
should do a resolution today so we can get it to the DNR
Got
by
it.
Yes.
Monday's the deadline.
Yes,
That's-
Because we have one and they'll sign it
Yep.
and it'll be done
Okay.
with that.
okay.
Well, I'll make a motion to name the clerk treasurer as the person to be named on this resolution in the the authorization for this,
as the recycling.
recycling coordinator.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded to name the clerk treasurer as the recycling coordinator, replacing Deborah Move. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Maybe we can all, motion carried, maybe we can just all hang cans to get at the meetings. And then he can sell those and make some money. The next item is discussion and action for payment on one half of the bond for the Freightliner pumper tanker truck, fire truck.
Okay, let's discuss it first. One of the issues that came up, and I want to preface this by saying that both Lori and, forgetting her name, the gal.
Dee Dee?
No, that's Lloyd's first name. Anyway, they were both very helpful in getting me the copies of what they had sent to the state to try to get a title for this thing, because there was no title in the files. So I went through everything I could find, thinking maybe that number was wrong. And that's what the state suggested doing, try to find another vehicle identification number. I found a different one. It's not any good either. It was in the appraisal report.
Where is the appraisal report?
Here, and Bill's got that. See that printout he's got in front of him? That's got the numbers on it.
Okay.
See that? See that Freightliner? I think it's the second from the bottom.
Bumper tanker, yeah.
Okay, so I concur with the village that there probably never was a title issue for that. In order to get a title, they're gonna have to have a bond, and there are two possibilities of terrible things that could happen. The first is that the company that manufactured that truck and we bought it from went out of business 2 weeks after the truck was delivered. There is and we ordered it in 2006, not we, the fire district, ordered it in 2006. The worst case scenario, well, maybe not worst, but the least likely scenario is they sold it twice. Someone else could be sitting on the title for that thing in some other state. It could be out in California. They could wake up one morning and find out it's in Wisconsin and come say, give us back our fire engine. Now, that's very unlikely, 1,000,000 to 1 chance that would happen. But if we have a bond, the village is protected, we're protected. The worst case that would happen is that thing has no title, they go to a fire somewhere, they get in an accident with it, and the insurance company says, you don't have to pay anything, that thing's not titled, it's an illegal vehicle. So they are absolutely correct that it needs to be bonded, and we obviously are obligated to pay half the bond, it's half ours. So this is a mistake that got made way back when none of us that are involved now knew a thing about it or were involved, way back in 2007. And somehow they took possession of it without a title. So, you know, it's just human failure, and we all fail at times. So nobody's pointing fingers or saying fault, but we need to issue the village a check for half of that before the 30-day extension is up.
This
Half
is-
of that bond.
This is the pumper truck here?
Yeah, the one second from the bottom, number 7.
Oh, 7,
Okay.
that pumper truck,
And-
there's 2 of them.
Yeah, and that is not a valid.
That's not a valid appraisal number, is it?
Oh yeah, the appraisal numbers.
Is that right? Okay.
Sure. But as of 2011.
Do you know how much they paid for that truck? I can't believe if they bought it in '06, it's still estimated to be worth $345,000.
Well,
But
that
I
was,
guess they're,
that was in 2011 and it was delivered in '07, so that was 4 years later, Larry, if you look at that.
okay, well, they're saying the liquidation's 165, the state is saying it's worth 150, and the bond is 1.5 times. I don't know, did you get a
Yeah.
see a copy? You have a copy of that, right?
Yeah, I see it too. Yeah.
You have the bond for 1.5 times the value, and they're saying 150, is that a legitimate?
Oh, I would think so.
Okay, all right, I had a question of whether or not that was a legitimate
Oh,
estimate.
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, it's I would like, is there more discussion, questions? I've gone over this with a fine tooth comb, I talked to the state, you know, and I'm sure the village did the same thing, but I thought, well, if we can find other numbers, maybe it's a different number, who knows? But none of the numbers are valid, so there's no title, is what it boils down to. Any
So
questions I can answer?
the only thing we can do to escape potential liability
Yeah.
is to pay the
Sure.
$1,800 ASAP.
Yeah, I think so.
Is that the amount 1,800?
Roughly, it's in that. It's in the.
Is it on the second page? I think it's in here. Is it in here? No, it's not.
Yeah, it's
No,
18
it was-
something, I think. It
It
was
was
30.
36 something, I thought.
But that was the.
Yeah, we pay half.
Yeah.
We pay half.
Yeah.
Well, they're estimating it at 1.5 times. It's the value of the bond times 225. 1.5 times the value of the vehicle. And so it's 1.5, the bond amount is 1.5 times 220, 1.5 times 150, which is 225.
Right.
And I don't know if it's exactly 3,600, so we're exactly 18.
Don't we have that in the letter from the village?
Yeah, it's in the office someplace, we have
I
it.
think.
I don't have any, this is the one I have is from the DOT.
Yeah.
I think that we have that letter from the. Here it is. It was $3,375 for a 5-year bond.
33.75?
So $1,687.50 is our half.
187.
1,687.50.
Okay.
So, discussion, otherwise I'll make a motion that that Bill write a check now, and I'll take it over to the village and drop it off for
Okay.
$1,687.50 for our portion of the bond on the, on the Freightliner upper tanker.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to pay 1/2 of the bond on the pumper tanker to get the title. In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, I'm in favor.
Aye.
In favor? Motion carried.
Okay. And is this for you or me?
That's good.
Okay.
Now, we need to sign the resolution during the meeting now. Because the DNR needs that.
Yeah, I think we
Or-
have to sign
And
And
so,
Levi always had you sign resolutions during the meeting.
do you have
Yes.
it there?
So has to get it off the computer.
Oh, okay.
Is he going to put down his name, or is he gonna put clerk,
I think if
town
it.
clerk?
Treasurer, huh?
I think put clerk treasurer.
put clerk treasurer, then
And
we'll
we
go
won't
with the
get stuck in
position.
this
Right,
again.
then we won't have to fill out the forms again.
Yeah, the only thing you have to do is notify them when there's
If there's a
a
change.
change of person, and
So
then
they
it's
know
just
who's
contact. But
But
you
it
don't
makes sense to make it the clerk treasurer, because they'd get the information anyway.
He's gonna get the information, he's gonna get the
He's gonna
aggregation.
get, right, he's gonna get the calls, the whole deal.
And I also understand that all the information he needs, he can get it right from advance.
Mhm.
They're gonna give him all the numbers he needs.
Right. Those are just copies of the titles, but we're keeping the files, so,
Well, these are Bill's records.
yeah. They just go in the file. I got hard copies too, and I have some other, when I type up my notes from what I did, just so somebody in the future questions it, they know that, oh, I went through it and the village went through it. But now the people I taught.
Jill?
Hmm?
Jill?
Jill, that's her name. I kept wanting to say Julie, I knew that was her. Jill Ford.
Computer's warming up as we turn it off, but I will write this check. Waiting for that.
Is that called a registration fee trust?
No, it goes to the village account.
Oh, for the village?
This is.
It will end up going to their insurance company. They will pay.
Oh,
the
this
bond.
doesn't go to
No,
the
no,
DOT.
no,
It's
no,
going
it
right
goes
to the
to,
insurance.
it goes to an insurance company, right?
The check is written out to the village?
Yeah.
Okay.
1687.
as big a hurry as we are, I'm sure.
We're in a bigger hurry than we want to believe.
Well,
I didn't realize the liability,
I didn't either. So I got,
potential liability problem that the town has had for, all this time.
yeah, right.
Just because
Nobody knows.
the insurance company can refuse to pay
Yeah, it's not illegal vehicle.
because it's not legal.
Can I speak?
Yeah.
Has anyone checked with the licensing? First of all, is there a license on the truck?
Yeah, but what I understand is because it's a municipal vehicle, they literally get a box of license plates. And if they don't contact the state and tell them what vehicle they're putting it on, they just slap them on there. And this is apparently common practice all over.
When I ran the fleet for Spank, we had 200 vehicles.
But you weren't a municipality. and
I
there's a big
understand,
difference.
but every time the plate came, it identified the information that was relative to the title. And if you go back to the state and tell them you have this plate and give them the detail on it, they should be able to tell you if they have a title on file and provide you a copy.
And they said, no, they don't. So we did.
Okay.
Jill did that and I did it too. And I really think what happened was that when they sold it, when the company sold it, then 2 weeks later they went bankrupt and they probably didn't want it in the bankruptcy.
Was that made by the same company that went out of business in Shawano, La France?
No, it was
No.
elite.
It was illegal.
It was Elite, okay.
Yeah. No.
Because they had some issues with La France too, with that
Yeah.
ladder truck.
Well, we suspect they didn't wanna have this money go through their bankruptcy, so they didn't issue the title, they kept the money, so they didn't have to settle their creditors with this money that they got, so they didn't, that's what's suspected.
That's what we kind of.
That's a suspicion that no one issued a title, and apparently people on the other end did not press for a title.
Well, I think it just got lost in the shuffle. Somebody thought, oh, we can apply for it, and so it never happened.
You raised another question earlier, should we sign this before we adjourn? The answer is yes, you should. It is customary.
That's why we're printing it.
Right, and Kathy Olson used to do that always.
Yeah, well, Tom Levi said you need to sign it
Yeah.
during the meeting, so. We have a man on it. Well, he needs to get it, and the DNR will not process the paperwork without a signed resolution, so he needs to have it.
No, I just don't disagree at all.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna lose some more.
Monday's the deadline, we already lost 10%. We
I know.
another 10, but we picked up 10 because we're not paying them.
Yeah, right. We're taking it out of bill.
We're gonna bring
Larry,
him-
you're cheap.
We're gonna bring him cans though. We're
Yeah.
gonna have everybody bring cans to the next meeting. for
Yeah,
him,
right.
Because he's not getting paid for, finding dumpsters or, trash collection cans for people. He needs to be compensated. So everybody's gonna be required to bring several cans for,
Several bags of crushed cans.
several
He
bags
wants them crushed
of
already.
crushed cans for, and we'll have a basket out there with Bill's name on it.
You don't have enough money to pay me to crush my cans first.
Okay, you don't have to crush yours, but you have to have a minimum of like 30 cans. Actually, just put them in a fairly, like a burlap bag, and I'll just drive over with my truck.
I put them in a 55-gallon drum in the garage and empty them once a year.
Oh, well, if you only have 55 gallons a year,
Nah,
we're not worried about your
No.
contribution. You need to drink
The
more.
sheet that you.
I don't.
Stuff that's in
That's Greg
cans.
Tolmeyer's job across the street. I told him I'd like to have his concession.
Well, see if you can get his can.
He won't even give me the cans.
Oh,
He just wants them to go to the garbage.
you'd rather give him to the garbage
He
can?
gives them to the garbage. He will not save them. No.
If anybody wanted to argue. This goes back. Take that out.
I'd be curious how they get the renewal and then write a check for the license plate.
Well, they gave him the VIN number, and apparently they didn't ask. There is a VIN number on the vehicle. obviously.
Gotta be.
They give him the VIN number.
But
If
they
I
don't-
insure my car though, they say, what's the VIN number? They don't have to look for the
But they
VIN.
usually mail you something to fill out and write a check and send back.
They don't, these municipal plates don't renew. They don't update them every year.
You don't get a new plate each year?
No,
So it's a lifetime plate? That's
That's
weird.
what they tell me.
Farmers only get 2 years
Yeah, I'll get 2 on a truck,
on trucks, 2 years.
but then they send you plates that have nothing to do with the vehicle you own. They've done that to me. I don't know whose vehicle it is.
I was just,
They told me to throw them away.
I guess, I
It's
just
in the junk.
figured because it had a VIN number and they had it insured, that there was not a problem, but the insurance company can't say, well, we're not paying this claim because you don't have the title. Title's not in your name.
Well, that's understandable.
If I was the insurance company, I would get dime one probably.
And they're in the business not to pay claims.
Make sure that you should read that,
They make money by not paying claims.
or have somebody else read it.
Yeah, read it out
I
loud.
can read it. Here, you're the first.
You read it out loud.
You can see that, I'll read it.
Municipality Code 28024, resolution, whereas the town of Palmyra hereby requests financial assistance under S 287.23 and S 287.24 Wisconsin Stats, Chapter NR 542, 544, Wisconsin Admin Code, for the purpose of planning, constructing, or operating a recycling program with one or more components specified in S 287.11, Paren 2, Paren A to Paren H, Wisconsin Stats. Therefore, be it resolved that Town of Palmyra hereby authorizes the clerk treasurer as recycling coordinator, an official of the responsible unit, to act on its behalf to submit an application to the Department of Natural Resources for financial assistance under S 287.23 and S 287.24 Wisconsin Stat, Chapter NR 542 and 544 Wisconsin Admin Code, sign necessary documents and submit a final report. Adopted the 16th day of October 2014. Name and title. I hereby certify that the foregoing resolution was duly adopted by the Palmyra Town Board at legal meeting on October 16, 2014.
Thank you.
Do I need to sign that one?
I think you're attesting, right? You certify? I think so.
I
Do
don't
we
know.
all have
Pardon?
to sign? Do we all have to sign?
The last one, they weren't always, it
I
was just,
don't think so.
Good.
It's just the clerk.
unless you want somebody other than Bill to sign it, because he's the clerk. I mean, Eddie or Winona
What
would
does it
sign
say?
it.
Attest, I hereby certify the foregoing resolution is duly adopted.
Yeah, let Ed sign it.
Yeah.
And he's a sign supervisor. And then that has to be copied and posted in all 3 sites.
Okay, I'll go get some copies of it. I can,
Just put
I don't know if this fax here
I
works.
know I was looking where Larry did where it says title.
Oh.
He put
I
the
signed
date.
You put the date. You're supposed to put
Oh.
the chair.
I'll put the title below where it says title. I'll put the date after the date. Is that okay?
Yep. I will get some copies and get this posted.
Motion to adjourn.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All in favor?